My daughter's best friend showed up at my door crying with boxes in her hands. One look inside, and I knew exactly what had happened. My daughter had been sleeping with her boyfriend behind her back. Now my family is shattered, and I can't stop asking myself where I went wrong as a parent. Hello, Reddit I plus here. I should have realized something was wrong the night I saw my daughter watching her best friend's boyfriend, like he was the only person in the room. Instead, I convinced myself I was imagining things. That's the part eating me alive now. I'm 47. My daughter Brielle is 19. Her best friend, Savannah, is 20. And before all this happened, I would have sworn on my life those two girls loved each other like sisters. Savannah practically grew up in our house. Her parents were wealthy, but emotionally absent. Always traveling, always posting vacation pictures online, while their daughter spent holidays sitting at our dining table pretending not to care they weren't home again. So we became her family, not officially, just naturally. She had a key to our house by 16. My younger son called her V. My wife kept her favorite snacks stocked in the pantry. Every Christmas morning, there'd be one extra pile of presents under the tree because nobody could stand the thought of Savannah waking up alone. And she appreciated everything. That girl never showed up empty-handed. If my wife cooked dinner, Savannah did dishes without asking. If I was fixing something in the garage, she'd sit nearby talking while handing me tools. When my wife had pneumonia one winter, Savannah stayed over 3 nights helping around the house while Brielle mostly hid upstairs complaining about how stressed she was. I know that sounds harsh. But if I'm being honest, Savannah was dependable in ways my own daughter wasn't. Brielle had always been intense, emotional, impulsive, the kind of person who needed constant validation. She wanted attention the way some people need oxygen. Growing up, we chalked it up to personality. She was funny, charismatic, dramatic. People gravitated toward her. Savannah balanced her out. At least that's what we believed. The trouble started when Savannah met a guy named Nolan. He was 22, worked part-time at a gym while finishing school. Quiet guy, respectful. Came from a rough background but seemed determined to build something better for himself. The first time he came over, he shook my hand firmly, thanked my wife for dinner, and actually looked people in the eye when he spoke. I liked him more than I expected to. Brielle did too. A little too much. At first it was subtle. She suddenly cared what she looked like whenever Nolan came around. She'd casually sit beside him during movie nights, laugh too hard at his jokes, find excuses to touch his arm. I noticed. My wife noticed too, but Savannah didn't. Or maybe she trusted Brielle too much to even consider it. That's the ugly thing about betrayal. It usually comes from the one person you defend without hesitation. One night, I walked into the kitchen around midnight and found Brielle sitting there texting with this ridiculous smile on her face. I joked, "Who's got you grinning like that?" She nearly dropped her phone. That reaction hit me immediately. Then she locked the screen and snapped, "Why are you being nosy?" I remember standing there thinking, that was weird, but I let it go. A week later, Savannah came over crying because she and Nolan had gotten into an argument. Apparently, he'd become distant, less affectionate, secretive with his phone. Savannah sat at our kitchen table devastated while my daughter rubbed her back, pretending to comfort her. That memory makes me sick now, because Brielle already knew why he was acting distant. She was the reason. I found out 3 months later, and not from my daughter, not from Nolan either. I found out because Savannah showed up at my front door carrying 2 cardboard boxes and crying so hard she could barely breathe. I opened the door and immediately knew something catastrophic had happened. She looked destroyed. Mascara smeared down her face, hands trembling. One of the boxes ripped at the bottom like she'd packed it in a hurry. I kept asking, "Savannah, what's wrong?" She couldn't even answer at first. Then she finally whispered, "I thought you should see this before Brielle lies about it." My stomach dropped. Inside the boxes were photographs, printed screenshots, receipts, hotel confirmations, love notes, and dozens of messages between Brielle and Nolan. Months worth. My daughter hadn't just kissed her best friend's boyfriend. They'd been having a full-blown affair behind Savannah's back for almost 6 months. The messages were disgusting. Not sexual. Worse. Emotional. Brielle telling him Savannah was too boring for him. Nolan saying he'd always been more attracted to Brielle. My daughter mocking Savannah for being naive enough to trust everyone. That line nearly made me throw up, because Savannah trusted us too, not just Brielle. Us. This girl spent half her childhood in our home while my daughter laughed behind her back and destroyed her life. I asked Savannah where she got the screenshots. Turns out Nolan's tablet had synced to his phone automatically. Savannah found everything while trying to play music in his apartment, and apparently it got uglier, way uglier. Savannah confronted them both the night before. Brielle didn't apologize, didn't cry, didn't even deny it. According to Savannah, my daughter crossed her arms and said, "Well, maybe if you paid more attention to him, he wouldn't have wanted me." I actually had to sit down after hearing that. Because who says something like that to someone they supposedly love? Savannah was sobbing at this point, apologizing to Emmy for bringing drama into our house, still trying to protect us even while her entire world collapsed. My wife came downstairs halfway through all this and nearly fainted when she realized what was happening. Then Brielle walked in, and I swear to God the look on her face wasn't guilt, it was annoyance. Like Savannah had inconvenienced her. The second she saw the boxes, she froze. Nobody spoke for a solid 10 seconds. Then my wife asked one question. Tell me this isn't true. Brielle rolled her eyes, and said, You're acting like I killed someone. I have never felt rage like that before in my life. Not loud rage, cold rage, the kind that makes your hands shake. Savannah started crying harder and asked her, How could you do this to me? And my daughter actually laughed. Not a nervous laugh, a mean one. Then she said something I'll never forget. You were always the backup friend anyway. Silence. Pure silence. My wife burst into tears immediately. Savannah looked like someone had punched her in the chest. And me? I think something inside me broke permanently, right there. Because that wasn't cruelty in the heat of the moment. That was years of hidden resentment finally slipping out. Suddenly, all these little memories started rearranging themselves in my head. The jealous comments, the competition, the way Brielle always needed to be the center of attention. I realized Savannah had probably spent years dimming herself to keep my daughter happy, and we never saw it. Things exploded after that. Savannah left in tears. My wife chased after her. Meanwhile, I stayed in the living room, staring at my daughter like I didn't recognize her anymore. I asked one simple question. Why? And Brielle actually shrugged. Then she said, He chose me. That's not my fault. I told her to get out. She thought I wasn't serious, started arguing immediately about how I was choosing Savannah over my real daughter. But here's the thing. This wasn't about choosing sides. It was about character. About watching someone you raised destroy another person without remorse. Eventually, I told her if she couldn't show basic humanity, she couldn't stay under my roof. She packed a bag and left to stay with Nolan, which lasted exactly 11 days, because apparently men willing to cheat with you are also willing to cheat on you. Shocking, right? Turns out Nolan was messaging another girl the entire time. Savannah found out later from mutual friends, and Brielle came crawling back home hysterical after he dumped her for someone else. At first, my wife wanted to comfort her. Mother instinct. I get it. But then Brielle said something unforgivable. She blamed Savannah for ruining her relationship. Not the affair, not the lies, not betraying her best friend. No. She blamed the victim for exposing it. That's when my wife finally snapped too. For the first time in our marriage, I heard that woman scream. She told Brielle she needed therapy, accountability, and a reality check before she destroyed every relationship she had left. Brielle cried, claimed we hated her, claimed everyone was abandoning her, but even then, she never once sincerely apologized to Savannah. Not once. It's been 8 months now. Savannah doesn't come around anymore, can't blame her. Though she still texts my wife on holidays, still asks how our dog is doing, still sends my son birthday gifts. That girl somehow remained kinder than the people who hurt her. Meanwhile, Brielle acts like she's the one who suffered most. And maybe that's the hardest part as a parent. Realizing love alone doesn't guarantee you raised someone good. Sometimes you miss the warning signs because you want so badly to believe your child has your values. Now I keep replaying everything in my head wondering where we failed her. Because I lost what felt like a second daughter. And the worst part? I'm not even sure my real daughter understands why.